Hey everybody, it's Megan from Megan Shuri LLC and Blue Ocean Legacy. I am super excited to be filming today. I have not had a lot of time to film, and so I'm super excited to be able to just sit down and carry on a conversation today. I am here in my living room, and the topic today is a very personal topic. I spoke last weekend at a conference where I basically gave my personal story on weight loss and gut health and things like that. And due to the feedback and the information I kind of gleaned from the audience last weekend, I felt that it was important that we start a conversation. So what I want to do is I want to start a dialogue. I want to start a conversation. And this is a video that's actually been much requested, and I haven't done it. I put it off. It touches a lot of very personal elements. And even though, let's face it, I'm an open book, I didn't for some reason I kind of put off doing this particular video. So I'm hoping that this video starts a conversation, and if I can just help one person, that's the goal of this video. If this is a conversation that you feel that anybody else needs to be on, you feel that anybody can relate to my story, you feel like they need to talk about this kind of stuff, please share it with them. And if they want to reach out to me and talk to me, I would love to talk to them, because this is something I'm definitely passionate about. I'm definitely passionate about proactive health rather than reactive health, because if we can stop things early, then we can stop a whole lot of problems later. And I'll kind of share that with my story and why I feel so passionate about that, and kind of the things that I went through. So as I am going around and I'm talking, I'm very blessed that I'm able to talk to so many people from different ages, different walks of life, different backgrounds. And one thing seems to ring true with almost everybody. And as we talk about gut health and weight loss, is embarrassment. We are embarrassed by whether what we're going through, or whether we let it get this far, or we don't know how to talk about what we're going through, so we don't because we're embarrassed by it, whatever it might be. That embarrassment seems to be constant. And by me starting the conversation, it seems to break that silence a little bit. So I'm hoping to start that conversation and make it okay to talk about it. I'm going to share my story, and I hope other people will take the plunge, and because it does take courage to share their story as well. In the past few years, I've learned the impact of what your gut health has on your immune system, your mental health, your nutrition, and sadly, your gut is linked to 25 different illnesses and diseases that hopefully, if we can get your gut health in line, we can reverse, or we can keep it from getting that bad, or getting those illnesses too. 70 million Americans suffer from gut issues, and most of them wait at least 7 years before going to the doctor to get those addressed. 7 years is a really long time. I know what I was going through, and I was going to the doctor the whole time trying to get it fixed, so I can only imagine what people are going through and not saying a word. But ultimately, gut issues result into hundreds of millions of dollars of medical costs, and that's a lot of money to be putting on that. And so let's talk about it. Let's create a conversation. Let's address these issues so we don't have the medical costs, that we can have impacts on lives, and hopefully have an impact on the diseases that it's causing. So my story is quite literally starts at birth. I was born a 10.5-pound baby. Yes, I said that right. 10.5 pounds. My poor mother, yes, I understand. She's an incredible woman. And I was a big baby. I was a big child. Growing up, looking at all my childhood photos, I was a big child. I even had nicknames to match those, and they were things like Piglet and Ham and even Brownie. So ultimately, those kind of things basically ingrain into your mind, or ingrained into my mind at a very young age, that I was fat. And as a child, I actually developed some major stomach issues, resulting into doctor visits as young as third grade. I kind of remember third grade. I know that I had issues before them. I don't remember exactly what age they started, but at third grade, my mom finally gave up and took me to the doctor. And in the end, I was diagnosed with IBS. I remember lots and lots of prune juice, lots and lots of mineral oil, things like that. Those kind of treatments, because I was a child, they couldn't take the regular prescriptions and things like that to solve the problem, and so they tried those kind of ways, and ultimately, let's be honest, they did not work. And over time, I started developing ulcers due to stress. Emotional trauma, even at a very young age, can have a huge effect on your gut health, and that's what happened to me. And our body copes with stress differently. And one of the ways is actually through our gut. So if your gut is not quite right, it's your body telling you that there's something wrong, and it might not just be with your gut; it might be an emotional thing as well. So and I'll kind of go into a little bit more of that further on as well. But ultimately, because of these ulcers, I started taking a daily prescription of Pepcid, and I took that for many, many years. I started, I believe, at the age of 12. I started taking that, and basically what you're doing is you're telling your body, when you take an antacid, you're telling your body to stop making acid. And taking that daily prescription basically told my body to stop producing what it needed to digest food. So I wasn't digesting food properly because of my IBS. I wasn't absorbing food properly, and I was gaining weight, and I didn't quite understand why. I was pretty much sick all the time. Ultimately, I found out later that my body was on constant starvation mode. It was quite literally anything that went into my mouth, it was holding on to, trying to find nourishment, trying to get what it needed to survive, and it wasn't. And that's why I was gaining weight, and I couldn't understand why. It was just trying to find what it needed to live. So as the years went by, I played basketball for a while, and I stayed very active, and I was able to keep the weight down during that time. But I remember going through some very extreme measures during those times. Like I started Slim Fast and taking protein shakes and things like that at a young age, and substituting those for meals. And I don't know that my parents truly understood how extreme that was. Ultimately, my weight kind of, let's be honest, forced me into an eating disorder. It wasn't an extreme eating disorder by any means, but forced me into an eating disorder at a very young age, where I was constantly dieting of some sort. And that's kind of the sad reality of the situation that I was in. My life turned kind of into, as far as diets and things like that, kind of turned into a roller coaster ride. But ultimately, my health continued to deteriorate, and I continued to gain weight. My weight led to type 2 diabetes. And basically, I'm an emotional eater. I find comfort in my food. I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. I even eat when I'm bored. And so food is my go-to. Being a chef, I'm always around food, so it's very easy to have access to it. And so at that point in time, I was just packing on. I felt like I was just packing on the pounds. And it just, let's be honest, wasn't a pretty situation. I tried many diets over the years, as I've kind of said, and some of them I did very well with. But in the end, what had happened is unless I was completely on that diet where I was sometimes starving myself or doing some extreme things in order to lose the weight, I would, once I stopped doing those things, I would go right back to the weight I was before. And then a lot of times I would be heavier than what I was before. At the age of 28, I found myself in the emergency room with a heart attack. And I remember feeling very defeated when the cardiologist came in and talked to me about weight loss and proper health to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Because I didn't know where to turn at that point in time. I kind of felt, I don't know. I don't know I don't know even how to explain the emotions that went through my body other than defeated. I just didn't know what else to do because I felt like I kind of done everything. At that point in time, I had been married for a few years, and I'm going to be honest, my marriage took a turn for the worst, and it started to fall apart. And I let my emotional eating get the best of me. Like I said, I eat when I'm happy and I eat when I'm sad, and I used food to find comfort in all of that. And I'd also fought depression for many, many years. Another thing a lot of people don't know about gut health is it also has a massive impact on your mental health. Your serotonin is 80, I don't remember the exact percentage. I want to say 80-90% of your serotonin is created in your gut. And so if your gut is not operating right, then your serotonin levels probably aren't either. And a lot of people suffer with gut issues, suffer from depression as well. And this is why. So I suffered from depression and I fought it off for years and I did a pretty good job. But this was kind of the point where I let it sink in. I'll be honest, I couldn't fight the battle anymore. And I let it go. And on a snowy day in December 9th, I made a doctor's appointment and I walked into the doctor's appointment and I just felt horrible. It was both mentally and physically and I just felt horrible. But secretly that doctor's appointment, I was screaming out for help. And I stepped on the scale for the first time in 2 years. It had been 2 years since my heart attack. And I stepped on the scale for the first time in 2 years. And I remember tears coming down my face as I looked at the number. Because it was 327 pounds. And I just shook my head in disbelief that it had gotten that far. There was a sense of deja vu as I sat in that doctor's office and the doctor had a point blank conversation with me about the realities of my current health situation. I had uncontrolled type 2 diabetes, possible insulin pumps, a possible second heart attack, but this time it would be major, not minor. And let's be honest, all of these situations could take my life. And, I remember sitting there and thinking, how could I let this get this bad? How did I do this? And the other part of me was yelling, how do I change this? Because I felt like I had tried everything at that point in time. I felt like I had tried dieting and I tried exercise and I tried everything and nothing had worked. It had always come back and it wasn't enough. Whew. Sorry, guys. This is why I don't share this kind of stuff. I'm sounding pretty much like the 10 o'clock news, I know, but I promise it has a good story, a good ending. A couple of weeks after that visit, I started getting phone calls from an old friend, and I ignored it. Being in the state of mind that I was, and I knew what she was calling about because I knew her, I ignored that call. Sorry. I don't think she realizes that I was ignoring the calls on purpose. I think I came up with a really good reason back at the time. A few weeks later, she called me again, and I just rolled my eyes and ignored the phone call again. And I was trying to get my life back on track. I was trying to get my health back on track. I was working and just hanging on for dear life on this marriage that was failing. And I didn't need one more thing in my life. I remember thinking that I don't need one more thing in my life. But finally, there was the last week of January. I was at work. I was talking to a client and the phone rang, and this particular client I couldn't get away with and I needed to go. And so I picked up the phone. I didn't even look to see who was calling. I just picked up the phone. I remember thinking, this is my out. And I picked up the phone, and on the other end say, "Hey girl, I've been thinking about you," in her bright, cheery voice. And I remember thinking, oh crap. But, she started talking to me, and I could have had a million reasons why not to sit and meet with her and some old friends, but I did. And they taught me about some clean and lean challenges and some new opportunities that they were going through. And so I listened. And, with everything that I was going through in my life, I decided to take the clean and lean challenge. And over 30 days, I noticed a difference. There was a difference. I'd been on many weight losses before, but on this one, I noticed a difference that was different than the other ones. After 90 days, I'd seen a significant difference in how I felt, my mood, my weight, just everything. It wasn't just in the weight loss. It was in multiple areas of my life, and it was almost shocking for me. I was quite literally a whole new person. And 2 years later, after taking that initial challenge, obviously I took multiple challenges after that. I lost a total of 107 pounds, and I was ecstatic. I felt incredible. I was amazing. So at 200 pounds, my weight loss plateaued. And I went a couple of months, and I was working really hard, and I was trying to get past that plateau, and I just couldn't. The scales just stayed at that 200. I was somewhere between 198 and 204, but I couldn't get past that weight. I just couldn't. I just stayed there. So my mental thinking was that my body had balanced out, and this was the proper weight for me. And I was very happy that I'd lost the weight. Granted, I wasn't at my ideal weight, but I was happy. And I knew the challenge I had ahead of me. See, I could lose the weight, but keeping the weight off, maintaining that weight loss, was a whole new challenge. And so I was ready to take that challenge. So I decided to take some time off as far as dieting and things like that, and take on this new challenge of maintaining this weight loss. So it was right back about that time that the company that does the Clean and Lean challenges actually introduced a new product line. It's called Love Your Gut. And if you follow me at all, you know that I love this product line. The Love Your Gut, anybody that has had long sustained gut issues and they come out with a product line for your gut issues, you're going to be very skeptical. I was very, very, I don't know. The thought of something actually helping or improving or maybe even fixing what I was going through, it was just beyond me. I didn't think that it was possible. I'll be honest. I'd been suffering from these issues all my life, and I had just accepted the fact that I always will. And so very, very skeptically, I decided to use the protocol, what we call the protocol. And I will be honest, I was shocked at the results I got. And I noticed actually that I started dropping weight again. And I was able to see a huge difference in my IBS symptoms. If you've got IBS, you know how IBS controls your life and how incredible it is to see a reduction in those symptoms. Initially, I didn't know why I started losing weight again, but as I started researching, I found out that the connection between a healthy gut and weight loss. And I'm not going to go through all of that. I would take an entire video and go through all of that if we did. So if you want to know more about that, hit me up. We will talk about that. But ultimately, I was able to reclaim my life. I've currently today, this is 4 years after that December, 4 years and 1 month after that December 9th visit. And I've lost a total of 127 pounds. I am no longer insulin dependent. I control my type 2 diabetes by diet and exercise. I am no longer at risk for another heart attack. I am no longer on heart medication because I have done what I needed to do to reclaim my health. And that is the important thing, is reclaiming your health and taking control of your life. There is a huge difference between how I feel, how I act, what I am able to do today than what I was able to do 4 years ago. And I wouldn't go back. There's no way I would trade. It was a challenge. I'm not going to tell you that I did it without any work. I went to the gym and I worked out and I did things to do this. But it was a very happy moment when I got to when I got the word from the doctor that I didn't have to take insulin anymore, because that is huge, absolutely huge. I am now currently training for a 5K. I want to run a 5K in May, and I'm getting ready to actually take another clean and lean challenge. I'm finally 2 years after that break. I've been able to maintain my weight loss for the last 2 years, so I know I have that ability. I am now getting ready to take another clean and lean challenge. This time I am looking to lose 40 pounds and to hit my ideal weight and be in the best shape of my life. I am training to do a 5K in May at the end of all of that. So in 90 days, I'll be running a 5K. And I'll be honest, I hate running with a passion. The reason why I want to do that is because I quite literally, it's on my bucket list. I'll be honest, it's on my bucket list, and I want to knock that off my bucket list. So it was at one point in my time it was a marker for a level of health that I had reached, and so I want to hit that level of health and run that 5K. So if you want to take that challenge with me, let's take the challenge together. There's nothing more than incredible support, than incredible people to work with. There's hundreds of people across the United States. It doesn't matter where you work, where you live. I dare say thousands of us in every area of the United States. And we all get together, we all support each other. There's Facebook groups, and we meal plan and put recipes up, and we support each other. There's workout groups in different areas and things like that. We work together to do this weight loss and things. And I hope that my story is able to start a conversation. If you're facing some of these same issues that I faced, start a conversation. Let's turn it around. It's not too late. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It's not too late. Let's turn things around and let's have an impact on people's lives. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.